Good morning, family and friends. Today's message is taken from Exodus 17, 8 through 16. Jehovah Nisi, the Lord is my banner. How many of us remember what we were doing or where we were a month ago? I may not exactly remember what I was doing, but I have a pretty good idea. If you went through a major life experience, you would definitely remember surgery, marriage, or graduation of some kind, some event that marked that day for you. And so in our message this morning, we find the children of Israel having had the experience of the Red Sea in their rearview mirror. They've gone through this memorable experience, this experience where God has shown just how great He is, allowing them to cross a sea on dry land. Their feet didn't get marred with mud. There was no bogging down. God had really delivered them. God had provided for their need. He was their deliverer. And now they are complaining. They complained about not having enough water, about a lack of food, and in the midst of their complaining, God provided. He provided manna from heaven, and on one occasion quail, and He provided them with fresh water. And they thought they were grumbling about real trouble, and now comes real danger. The Amalekites came and attacked the Israelites at Rephidim. This situation wasn't a pleasant one. Rephidim was at the southern end of the Sinai Peninsula, and the Amalekites were located at the northern end, which means the Amalekites went out of their way to attack Israel. 40 years later, as Israel was about to enter the promised land, Moses would remind them, when you were weary and worn out, they met you on your journey and cut off all who were lagging behind. They had no fear of God. The Amalekites attacked the weak and the weary stragglers at the rear of the procession, those who had no protection. Deuteronomy 25 and 18. The Amalekites were descendants of Esau. So there was no love lost between those distant relatives, just as Jacob and Esau had fought against each other 500 years earlier. Joshua is pegged or tapped by Moses now to fight. This is the first time Joshua is mentioned in the Bible. As he led the fight, Moses stood at the top of a hill with his arms upraised in prayer, holding his staff. And the Bible refers it in our verses as the staff of God. With this staff, Moses had done some miraculous things. This is the staff that he struck at the Nile and it turned into a sea of blood. This is the staff that he raised at the Red Sea and the waters parted. The staff that he threw upon the ground that turned into a snake and ate up Pharaoh's magician snakes. Here at Rephidim, he struck a rock and water gushed forward. It wasn't magic, though. It was the power of God, which is why it's referred to as the staff of God. Moses' staff was a symbol of the Lord's power and His presence. But there was a problem. As long as Moses held his hands up, the Israelites were winning. But whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. To remedy this, a stone was placed as a chair for him as Aaron and Hur held his hands up on each side until sunset. And as a result, Israel won. To commemorate the victory, Moses built an altar there and called it Jehovah Nisi, Hebrew for the Lord is my banner. When we typically think of a banner, we think as one of those banners hanging from the church ceiling flag-type banner draped across a wall or carried across the playing field of an athletic event. The banner here is simply Moses' staff, God's staff, which represented the Lord's power and his presence. Throughout the day, the people could look to the strange sight of Moses sitting on a stone with his upraised arms, with Aaron and Hur holding him on each side with the staff held high in his hand. And they knew that the Lord was with them. The staff serves as a reminder of a rallying point. I know many of us have seen the famous picture of the 6 men raising the flag of the United States at Iwo Jima. It was a testimony to the enemies of the Americans that they had captured the hill, and it encouraged an entire nation to press on for the fight in the Pacific. Consider the standard flag bearer in battles of war. The flag bearer was at the front of the line, often leading the charge because the flag, the banner, meant something. Amazingly, most of the times, this flag bearer went into the battle unarmed. If the standard bearer was wounded, the nearest man would grab the flag the banner before it would hit the ground, partly out of respect, but more importantly because it was the focal point of the troops. Without the banner to lead the way, the battle often fell in disarray. Jehovah Nissi, the Lord is my banner. The Lord leads the charge. The Lord fights for us. This picture and the truth that it proclaims can only intensify in time. After the ministry of Moses, there came a special promise through the prophet Isaiah. In that day, the root of Jesse will stand as a banner for the peoples. The nations will rally to him, and his place of rest will be glorious. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. Isaiah 11:10 and 12. The root of Jesse is a messianic title for the coming of Christ. Jehovah Nissi, the Lord is my banner. The Lord is our banner. God is our banner. God is our victory on the battlefield. Lean on God, and his staff shall sustain us by his power and his presence. Jehovah Nissi. May God bless and keep you is our prayer. And as always, should you have any questions, please feel free to inbox me. God bless.